Alright guys, this is my TED Talk, Cars Gone Too Far. Right here we have Apple's self-driving concept car. This whole TED Talk is going to be based around all the innovations made in the car industry recently. The cars have become so technologically advanced that maybe they've just gone too far and we're not going to be able to stop the current path. Alright, so on the left here we have the Model T, which is the first mass-produced car. They made over 15 million of them. It had 20 horsepower at 45 miles an hour, which was its top speed. On the right, we have the Ferrari LaFerrari. They only made 499 of these. Top speed is 220 miles an hour, and obviously it looks so much better, performs a lot better. So, how did we get from the Model T to the Super? Alright, so some of the innovations we've made on cars, these are the couple that I'm going to focus on. The first is Subaru's new transmission. It's completely different from anything we've ever seen before. It's very similar to something you have in your lawn tractor. I'll get into that. The four-cylinder Model T to a V10 supercar. It's the same original design, the internal combustion engine. It's the basic same concept, but how does one go 200 miles an hour, the other one only goes 45? Electronic overthrow of cars. Where did we start with the Model T where there's no electronics, everything was all mechanical, to now everything on all the new cars is electric, and it seems like the normal person just can't work on their own car even if they want to. Hybrids is the other main thing I'm going to focus on. They're better for the environment and they're more efficient, but whenever you think of a hybrid, you usually think of a Prius, not a supercar, not a really fast car. So alright, so with Subaru's transmission, it's the same tractor or same concept as a lawn tractor, very similar. When you're going up a hill in your tractor, you don't feel it downshift, you just get more power and you keep going the same speed. Once it levels off at the top of the hill or starts going downhill again, it'll like downshift, quote unquote downshift, and you'll just keep going, change, keep going the same speed without shifting gears. Uh, all right, so the one in Subarus, you can see right here, this chain right here will open and close on the sprocket to give it an infinite amount of gear ratios. So if you compare this to your mountain bike, the gears on the front and the gears on the back that you can shift, those are a set distance. So you have a 24 speed, 3 in the front, 8 in the back. This thing you can shift infinite number of times, completely variable to any kind of situation that you're going to be driving in. All of this, all these innovations right here in this provide for better fuel economy, better performance. There's far fewer breakdowns in these transmissions. They don't wear out as often because there's just not as many parts that are slamming against each other or sliding, grinding. There's just a lot less to go wrong. Alright, so the internal combustion engine. This is the same basic concept. It's over 100 years old. The gas comes in the top, the piston comes up, it compresses, the spark plug fires, it expands the gas, combusts it, it goes down, turns the crankshaft, and then pumps back up to let the exhaust out. It's the same thing we have used for over 100 years in the Model T to the same thing that's in a Prius or any other basic car that's not completely electric that you can think of. Alright, so why do we use this? It's proven, it's not hard to make, we've perfected it, but it is still not as great as it could be. We have better designs right now. If you look it up, you can see cars that run on water, propane, hydrogen, all different kinds of things. Why? Why do we still use the same design that we used over 100 years ago? I mean, over 100 years ago, the emissions, the miles per gallon, the power, the speed were not anywhere near they are. So we've definitely upgraded. We've made them a lot better. They're a lot less uh, harmful harmful for the environment. They're a lot more efficient. They'll give better mile per gallon, better power, better speed. They'll do a lot better than that old engine, but why have we not changed to go run on hydrogen or water, cornstarch, diesel, something completely different? Alright, so the electronics in the cars. Uh, this is from my personal experience, 1987 Jeep Cherokee. That is the same Jeep that I have. It has no central computer. The new Jeep Cherokee that they just started again is based off a central computer. There's ups and downs to this. In my Jeep, if something goes wrong, it's much, much harder to diagnose the exact problem easily. You kind of have to troubleshoot a lot more. In the brand new Jeep, you take it to a shop and you have them plug in their machine to your computer, and the computer will spit out a code onto their machine, and it'll say, oh, your O2 sensor's bad, or you need a new catalytic converter, something like that. Something that'll tell you exactly what the problem is, just like that. So yeah, some of the pros: power doors, power locks. I mean, just minor conveniences, power seats, all that kind of thing. The cons are over automation. I don't like driving brand new cars with tons of electronics because it takes the fun out of it. It doesn't, you don't get to feel the car as much, and it's not fun. I mean, they're definitely more comfortable. The new cars are more comfortable. They're better to drive in. They're better to just look at, I guess. But the older cars, you really, they're yours. They're not all built the same. They all have their own kind of little quirks and little things that make them yours. All right, so the hybrid, usually think of a Prius when you hear of a hybrid car. This isn't always true. You can see the Porsche 918. It's a brand new Porsche car. It has an electric engine and a gas engine that work at the same time. The gas engine powers the rear two wheels, and the electric engine powers the front two. All right, so this gives the car a lot more power. You have over 800 horsepower between the electric and the gas engine. This also makes it handle better because you have power going to the rear wheels as well as power going to the front wheels, so you're not going to slide all over the place going around fast turns. Uh, One other cool thing that they have done is they somehow convert the energy you use during braking to electricity to power the battery again. The first people to do this were F1, Formula One cars. They started this using the power of braking to turn their cars, like keep them going, be more efficient so they don't have to stop for gas as much, or they can power through turns a little better. Whenever I think of a supercar, I think of something like a Lamborghini. Gets like 8 miles to the gallon. It's super fast, great to look at, but it's absolutely terrible for the environment, very bad for emissions, terrible on gas mileage. Uh, so the Porsche, this completely changes that. You have a car that's fairly efficient for a supercar. You get better than 8 miles to the gallon, and you're not you're not just using a gas engine, you're using electric too. It has all-wheel drive that improves the performance, that improves your stability, your handling. Four-wheel steering, this is similar to some of the old trucks, not old, but around 2005 to 2008 trucks that Chevy tried to make. The front wheels will turn one way at high speeds. So if you're making a right turn, the wheels will turn to the right, and then the back wheels will also turn to the right to give you that extra little jump. This this will improve your stability, ability to turn a lot. Just everything about this is a lot better, a lot more more fun, more. All right, so how much innovation is too much innovation? You've seen Apple's concept for the driverless car, Google's concept. You've seen all these different companies trying to make the driverless car. I don't think Apple, Google will actually do this because they've always been software companies. They're more interested in making the software to run these cars and actually building the bodies, building the frame, all that kind of thing. Uh, Honestly, I think these cars would be detrimental to society. Honestly, if we are having cars do what we've always done, if they're driving themselves, how does this affect the rest of our life? How can we not have our dog walk itself or dinner make itself? We have something get us out of bed in the morning, change us, kind of like the Jetsons. You jump out of bed and you hover all along, they change you, all that kind of thing. How it seems like a stretch, but I mean, if you look at what we've come from to where we are now, it doesn't seem like it's too far in the future that we're expecting a lot more. I think people will eventually lose their drive to be self-sufficient. If cars are driving themselves, they'll be in their car doing work, overconsumed with uh, themselves, not like thinking logically, kind of just wanting strictly based on work and the practical society. They're not thinking about what makes driving fun. And here's this little YouTube video from Wally that really helps explain what I'm talking about here. You can see Wally's from the past, and he just goes to the future after all the humans have left Earth because they just completely trashed it and made it not livable anymore. He's all confused, like, why is nobody talking to each other? They're all looking at their computer screens, getting things handed to them. I'm not saying this is going to happen to us in the next 100 years, but definitely part of this. Like, we're all looking at screens already. We all just want things handed to us. Sometimes it seems like a stretch to actually have to go do something for yourself instead of having to go pick up a pizza instead of having it delivered, something like that. You can see here the guy fell off his chair, and now he just has no idea what to do. He can't really like help himself. This isn't the same thing as what I'm talking about. We're not actually gonna fall off our chair and not be able to get back up, but I think we're gonna fall off a metaphorical chair and we're not gonna be able to provide for ourselves. I don't think humans were made to have everything done for themselves. You look at what we did when we were cavemen, we were all hunting, gathering, all that kind of thing, living hard lives, and now you see these people just hovering around, having everything handed to them. You can see here in school, all the babies are standing there just looking at a screen. They're not really learning with anything in their hands. This isn't too far from what we're doing in schools right now. We're always looking at screens, but we're usually taking notes by hand or like on a computer. It's not just strictly eyes to a screen. We have some sort of notes that we use.
Time for lunch. In a cup.
Here's Wally going through the whole mall, just looking at everybody confused how they're all in their own little world, not even paying attention to each other.
Attention, Axiom shoppers.
Here's
Try
some commercials that are
the new
played.
pen.
Everybody's just kind of consumed. They don't think for themselves. They see something on the screen and they're like, oh, maybe I should do that too. So that's what happens. And, that's the end of my TED Talk. I think I'm going to leave you guys with the question that how much innovation, how much technology becomes too much? How far have we come? And are we going to get to a point where cars are driving themselves and we turn into these fat people in Wally that just want everything handed